Just before Dominic Mysterio's rematch with John Cena in the 2025 Survivor Series, WWE turned back the clock. A little person came out dressed like Cena to troll the audience until Dominic beat him up. It did kind of feel like we were watching a Raw from 2010. Now, if you did enjoy it, I think that's awesome. These are your entertainment hours, so whatever works, and really, it was pretty innocent. Some dumb humor to try and get a laugh from the crowd, and some people did chuckle away. And as for the wrestler in question, they did an interview afterwards, and they were over the moon. That is good stuff. Sadly, things aren't always as light as this, and I tell you, how the following 8 segments appeared on television, I do not know, but they did. And what culture has asked I, Simon Miller, to give them to you? So let us learn a lesson. Never do it again. Number 8, the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club. Let's go back to the usual challenge, and yes, I shall be talking about this a lot during this video. Would you fancy showing this to a non-fan today to try and get them to watch? No, you wouldn't. And this person would judge you. This really was bottom of the barrel stuff, and here is some history if you are indeed a new fan. During a period where WWE would try anything to get ratings, Vince McMahon decided certain people should kiss his ass. I mean, literally 2, you bend over and either have your face shoved into that crack or you do it under duress. I mean, even saying that, I believe it's absolutely terrible. And occasionally this was genuinely done to embarrass certain individuals like Jim Ross and Mick Foley, and while William Regal had to do it too, somehow he turned it into more of a comedy skit. We do not sing Regal's praises enough. The man just got it no matter what. The end story was still Boss abuses his power for his own means, however, which is atrocious, and even the likes of Shawn Michaels had to do it. Son Shane knocked HBK out, so this went down with a man unconscious. Now that I thought about it, that's even worse. Shane eventually got it too, because of course he did, and Hornswoggle couldn't escape it either. And yeah, Vince himself got a sort of induction when he went into Rikishi's behind, but even with that comeuppance, no, it was just bad wrestling. And also, who was this for? Who was going to tune in to see this? And if you did, good grief. Go look in the mirror, you've got serious issues, and I think you're disgusting. Number 7, Billy and Chuck's wedding. When Billy Gunn and Chuck Palumbo started teaming together in 2002, it was actually quite ahead of its time. I suppose at first they were just meant to be more flamboyant than anything else, but there was a potentially good message here. Be yourself, because you totally rule. The issue as ever with pro wrestling is that this soon became totally unnuanced, as the idea was Billy and Chuck are gay, and therefore they're heels. I mean, it's so reductive and it's such low-hanging fruit. Sexuality shouldn't have anything to do with where you fall on the heel or face side. A lot of the jokes were also horrifically put across, the proof being when WWE decided to do the classic wrestling wedding. I mean, they made their way to the ring to the song It's Raining Men, and it was the Godfather who interrupted all this. He doubted what was going down because he knew both of them used to sleep around with so many women. I tell you, this was awful. The punchline was even worse as the pair soon realized people thought they were homosexual and reacted like they were insulted. They're not gay. And this was totally regressive, and if you were gay, you likely felt slightly put off if nothing else. This doesn't need to be treated as a joke, especially as there was nobody on the other side. If you are going to do this, you need other characters that are just gay and getting on with their life, because it doesn't matter that they're gay. Otherwise, the joke is literally, lol gay. It's ridiculous, and we shouldn't have done it. So once more again, I ask you, my friends, would WWE do this now? And of course they wouldn't. It was also worse back then too, because homosexuals were oppressed when it came to gay marriage. None of this was good, and hence why you never see it referenced on TV today. I just think you want to make sure that all pillars of a community are represented when we are talking about celebrities and entertainment. WWE was not doing that back in 2002, so all of this was totally crap. Number 6, the Muhammad Hassan SmackDown attack. So this always comes up in lists like this, and for good reason. It's very similar to what we just talked about in many ways. What is happening in real life, and how can we make that controversial? Therefore, a couple of years after the 9/11 attacks, WWE did indeed debut Muhammad Hassan, and look, at first you could argue it was an interesting character. Hassan would talk about how awful it was that America had thrown all Arabs into one category, which was offensive and unfair. He was right. Then before long, it just became foreign heel nonsense. It was so bad, and good grief, did we then take it too far. It was July 2005, and the London tube system was attacked in some horrific terror bombings, with many people being killed. It sent shockwaves around the world, and yet somebody didn't tell WWE that maybe airing their pre-taped SmackDown segment was not a good idea. Because on the same day, we saw The Undertaker ambushed by a group of people in masks, and, well, look at the picture. They were also instructed to choke Taker and slice their throats before they carried him on their shoulders to the back. The imagery was undeniable. This was meant to resemble a terror attack. It would have been horrible even if the London bombings hadn't have happened, but to do it at the same time, everybody was upset, including the network that aired the show. They told Vince McMahon that character had to go. The Undertaker then threw him through the stage at the Great American Bash pay-per-view, and yep, he was done, never to be seen again. It was so poorly thought out, and as above, this is never mentioned today because it was in such poor taste. There's stories to tell with such characters, but they have to be researched and well played out. This was the opposite. Man, did we totally drop the ball. Number 5, Degeneration X mimicked the Nation of Domination. I saw a message thread the other day discussing if the Nation of Domination should be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. There's absolutely an argument for this when somebody mentioned the segment we're going to talk about. Is this the real reason WWE doesn't do it? Because maybe it would all be thrown back into the public consciousness, and believe you me, WWE does not want that. It is very hard to talk about, so I will do my best, but let's get one highlight out the way. Jason Sensation's Owen Hart impression was right on the money. If you closed your eyes, you wouldn't actually know otherwise. Sadly, as for the rest of it, well, it was totally off-piste. Aside from the fact that Degeneration X changed their skin color, which is totally unhinged, the whole segment was reductive and insulting. I don't want to speak on behalf of the whole community, but I can't imagine a huge portion of the fan base was happy with this. And also, once again, what was the joke? It was just terribly thought out, and what was going through people's minds, I don't know. On a lesser level, it was also full of toilet humor, and Jerry Lawler on commentary is insufferable. Some people say it's just what we did back then, but that's a poor excuse. It shouldn't have been going on back then either. D'Lo Brown, who of course was part of the Nation, summed it up well in many an interview. He said you could have done this without the blackface, and he's right. That was so pointless. As ever, sit down and watch this with somebody who isn't a fan, and then come and tell me what they think. But you won't do that, because that would be crazy. This really was a swing and a miss. We shouldn't have been swinging in the first place. Number 4, Trish Stratus barks like a dog. Now, Trish Stratus has talked about this and actually is quite level-headed with it. If anybody gets to have the final say, it's her. And no, she didn't much enjoy it when she did have to do this with Vince McMahon, but in the end, he did get his comeuppance, and that's the story. The bully tries to be a dickhead and eventually gets smacked in the balls. I still don't think this is what we want wrestling to be, at least I don't. Sports entertainment is meant to be an escape, and this was anything but. It was also essentially objectifying women at a time when that's all the female roster was allowed to be. This was their role, which is why Trish Stratus and Lita deserve so much credit. Even faced with all this, they still managed to main event Raw. I mean, that is game-changing. Then one day, Vince McMahon decided to make Trish strip down to her underwear and bark like a dog. This was due to the fact that McMahon felt like she had disrespected him, even though at the time it was he who was having an affair. He made his wife Linda watch. And I feel bad just saying that because it's terrible. And sure, it did get heat and Stratus slapped the shit out of him eventually, but it's just so bad. Again, it's the exact opposite of what I believe you want to be doing on your wrestling TV programs. There is so many ways to get boos, and I don't think you need to resort to this. I mean, build stars like Rhea Ripley and the rest of the people running around the main roster right now. Don't denigrate them like this. Number 3, the live sex celebration. Did Edge want to do this? Nope. Did Lita want to do this? Nope. But Vince McMahon told them they had to do it anyway. This is also how we celebrated Edge winning his first WWE title too, and can you imagine? You finally achieved your dream, you're on top of the world, now you have to strip naked and pretend to hump your partner. I mean, that's unreal. It was 2006 as well, so the Attitude Era was long gone, and this didn't do anything meaningful with the characters. Shock TV, for better or worse, has always been part of wrestling, but this was so lacking in rhyme and reason, it felt even worse. You may as well have just shouted, "Sex on television," from the top of your lungs. Lita has also gone on record saying she protested this and was basically told, you either do it or you're gone. And that just makes it bottom of the barrel stuff. I mean, look at Dominic Mysterio in 2025 to see how this can be achieved, and what we were doing 20 years ago was the exact opposite. It's not like it led anywhere either, it was just done to pop a rating, and when you have the actual participants turning around going, I'm very not comfortable with this, please can we do anything else, and they do get turned down, well, something really has gone very, very wrong. It's not like anybody talks about it today either as this bastion of good wrestling television. No. Everybody thought this was totally pants, which is ironic, because good grief did we see a lot of pants. Number 2, Vince says the N-word. So far be it from me to talk about this, as there are way more important voices that can speak to it, but let's keep it simple. Do not go on TV as a white man and say this word. It's not hard to figure out why. You can research for 5 minutes and you'll work it out. Vince McMahon did say this to John Cena because I guess Vince believed that's what those in the hip-hop community did, and Booker T then reacted. Again, Booker gets to have the final word, and he has said he didn't have much of an issue with it, and I just want to leave it there. Personally, I'd rather we didn't drop slurs on wrestling television because, again, wrestling is meant to be an escape, and you really don't know how your audience is going to take it. Number 1, the Hulk Hogan Netflix debut. So who knew this would be such a moment in time, but the evidence was apparent afterwards. WWE did stop talking about it. In fact, Hulk Hogan basically vanished from TV. It all tied into the awful stories that had come out about Hulk during the years prior. So when he walked out on the January 6th Raw as the show debuted on Netflix, he got booed out the place. It's toe-curling to watch because Hogan decided to ignore this and do his usual routine. It sort of made you want to bury your head in the sand, and I think a lot of us expected the Curb Your Enthusiasm credits to play. Hulk would say afterwards it was due to his political leanings, but it very much felt like this was linked to the horrendous comments he had been caught saying on tape. The word was always he refused to properly apologize too, and of course that left a sour taste in a lot of people that were working backstage in WWE. They expected Hulk Hogan, one of the heroes of pro wrestling, to come out and apologize, and he didn't do that, and that really does just make it even worse. Now, of course, you can't tell the history of wrestling without Hulk Hogan, who did change the game. When you start talking about Terry Bollea, it is totally uncool. It basically ties into other things we've said during this video. Have respect for your fellow man, your fellow woman, and the human race. I mean, it costs nothing to be nice. You really do have to try to be an asshole. Now, of course, if you have any more of these kind of segments that you would like to talk about in the comments below, please do, but try and be respectful if possible. Before you like the video, share the video and subscribe. And if you would like a walk down memory lane some more, hopefully